On Thursday, the San Antonio Spurs acquired Noah Vonleh from the Boston Celtics via trade, and then the Spurs waived Vonleh. What's up, everyone? This is Paul Garcia, Project Spurs. Let's jump into this trade between the Spurs and Celtics. So in order for this trade to happen, the Spurs needed to make a roster move and waive a player, and that player who they ended up waiving was Gorgui Dieng. Now, Dieng was on a guaranteed contract for $1.8 million. And the Spurs showed that they really like Stanley Johnson because they could have waived Stanley Johnson, who was on a non-guaranteed contract. But as we've seen lately, Stanley Johnson has been part of the rotation coming off the bench with the group. Now, Dieng was signed in the offseason, and he was more so brought in to be a player more so like as a mentor for the young players on the team, more like a locker room presence. And we have seen that he only plays whenever like it's like a blowout in a game or if like a player's injured. And so once they waived Dieng, the Spurs were able to add Noah Vonleh via trade, and then once they got Vonleh on the roster, they waived him immediately. And so because of that, the Spurs have one open roster spot as of right now. They have 14 players on NBA contracts and then 2 players on 2-way contracts. The Spurs also acquired cash considerations from the Celtics for this trade. And now what did Boston get? They got a protected future second-round pick from the Spurs. We don't know what year that pick will come from, and also the protections on the pick, what they specifically are. It's likely a heavily protected pick because, in a way, the Celtics were trying to get some salary relief by not letting Vonleh's contract guarantee this coming weekend. And so in order to do that, the Spurs kind of helped them out by taking on his contract. So again, I think that's going to be a heavily protected pick there from the Celtics. Okay. So now what does the Spurs' cap sheet look like? The Spurs still have a lot of cap space. They still have $27.1 million in the cap space for this season right now, up until really June 30th. I believe is the date when the salary date, I guess. Anyway, so yeah, going into trade season continues now up until February. The Spurs can continue to still make moves. They have a lot of flexibility here. They have one open roster spot, like I mentioned. They still have Stanley Johnson on a non-guaranteed contract, so if they needed to open another roster spot to maybe do like a 2-for-1 player trade, they could also waive Stanley Johnson. Right now, that looks very unlikely because, like I said, Stanley's been a crucial part of their team lately in these last few weeks ever since they signed him. So again, the Spurs have a lot of flexibility going forward, $27.1 million in cap space for San Antonio.